They say a parent shouldn't have favorites, but I'll be the first to admit I was a liar. For 30 years, I lived in a self-imposed delusion, building a pedestal so high for my son, Julian, that I didn't notice the shadow it cast over my daughter, Casey. Julian was my golden child. He was the Ivy League graduate, the high-flying corporate attorney with the perfect smile and the even more perfect wife. He was the one I bragged about at every bridge club meeting, the one whose framed diploma sat dead center on my mantelpiece like a holy relic. And then there was Casey, my disappointment. Casey, who dropped out of community college to become a tattoo artist. Casey, who wore combat boots to family weddings and spent her weekends volunteering at animal shelters instead of networking at country clubs. I spent decades comparing them, using Julian's success as a yardstick to measure Casey's perceived failures. But life has a very cruel way of taking your yardstick and snapping it over its knee just when you think you have everything measured out. The name of this channel is Spilled at Dinner, and the story I'm about to tell you is about the night the wine didn't just spill, it stained my entire reality. It was a Tuesday evening 6 months ago. I was alone in this big, empty house, preparing a small salad, when the world suddenly tilted. There was a sharp, blinding pain behind my left eye, and then my right arm simply stopped belonging to me. I hit the floor before I could even scream. It was a stroke, massive, silent, and terrifying. As I lay there on the cold linoleum, staring at the underside of my dining table, only one name came to my mind: Julian. I managed to drag myself toward my phone, my fingers fumbling with the screen. I called my golden child. He picked up on the third ring. I could hear the sounds of a party in the background, clinking glasses, laughter, the hum of expensive people. I slurred his name, begging for help, telling him something was wrong. There was a pause on the other end. A long, cold silence that felt like a winter wind. "Mom?" he said, his voice laced with annoyance rather than fear. "I'm in the middle of a gala for the firm. Are you sure you aren't just having another panic attack? I really can't leave right now. It's the biggest night of my career. Call an ambulance if it's that bad, okay? I'll check on you tomorrow." And then he hung up. He hung up on his dying mother because the gala was more important than my heartbeat. I was fading fast, but I had one more call in me. I hit the speed dial for Casey, the number I usually only called when I wanted to nag her about her lifestyle choices. She picked up before the first ring even finished. I didn't even have to speak. She heard my breathing, heard the sound of the phone hitting the floor, and she knew. "I'm coming, Mom. Stay with me. I'm 10 minutes away. Don't you dare close your eyes." Casey didn't just call the ambulance. She beat them there. She broke a window to get in, and she stayed on the floor with me, holding my hand, whispering stories about our old dog until the paramedics arrived. For the next 3 weeks, my world was a blur of white walls and the rhythmic beeping of machines. And in every single moment of clarity I had, Casey was there. She slept in a cramped plastic chair by my bed. She was the one who talked to the doctors, the one who learned how to navigate the insurance nightmare, and the one who brushed my hair when I didn't have the strength to lift my arms. And Julian. My golden child showed up 6 days later. He walked into the ICU smelling of expensive cologne, looking at his watch every 2 minutes. He didn't ask how I was feeling.
He asked Casey if I had a power of attorney signed yet, because managing the estate would be difficult if I remained incapacitated.
He talked about my house like it was already a listing on a website.
He stayed for exactly 20 minutes before saying he had a flight to catch for a ski trip in Aspen. "You've got this handled, right, Case?" he asked, not even looking at his sister.
"You don't really have a real job anyway, so you can stay here. I've got a life to run." That was the moment the scales finally fell from my eyes. I saw the son I had worshipped for what he truly was, a hollow shell of a man, built out of my own vanity and his own greed. And I saw the daughter I had dismissed for what she truly was, the soul of this family. Recovery was a long, grueling road. When I finally returned home, it was Casey who moved in. She put her tattoo business on hold. She built a ramp over the front steps with her own hands. And she sat with me through every painful physical therapy session. She never once said, "I told you so." She never threw my past criticisms back in my face. She just loved me, even though I had spent 30 years making her feel like she wasn't enough. But I knew I had one final task to complete. A legacy to correct. 2 months ago, I invited both of them over for dinner. It was the first time the three of us had been in the same room since the hospital. Julian arrived late, acting as if he was doing us a huge favor by being there. He sat at the head of the table, the place his father used to occupy, and started talking about how we should probably sell the house soon to simplify things for me. I agree, Julian, I said, my voice steady for the first time in months. Things need to be simplified. That's why I called my lawyer this morning. Julian perked up, a hungry look in his eyes. The will? You're finally updating it? I did more than update it, I said, sliding a manila envelope across the table. I've transferred the deed of this house to a trust. And I've changed my beneficiaries. Julian opened the envelope, his smug expression slowly curdling into a mask of pure rage. This has to be a mistake, he stammered. You've left me $50? And a set of your old encyclopedias? Mom, this house is worth millions. You're giving everything to Casey? She just blow it on piercings and paint. Casey saved my life, Julian, I said, looking him dead in the eye. While you were at a gala, she was on the kitchen floor with me. While you were in Aspen, she was cleaning my bandages. You were right about one thing, though. You do have a life to run. So go run it. But you won't be running it on my dime or in my house. The explosion was predictable. Julian called me senile. He called Casey a manipulator. He threw his napkin on the table and stormed out, promising that I would never hear from him again. I just watched him go, feeling a strange sense of relief. The pedestal was finally empty, and for the first time, I could see the room clearly. Casey sat there in silence, looking at the papers. Mom, you didn't have to do this, she whispered. I didn't do any of it for the money. You know that? I know you didn't, I said. Reaching across the table to take her hand, the hand covered in ink, the hand that had held mine when the world went dark. That's exactly why it belongs to you. I spent my whole life looking at your brother's degrees and missing your heart. I'm sorry it took a stroke for me to finally see my own daughter. We finished our dinner in peace. There were no more comparisons, no more hidden agendas, and no more golden child. Just a mother and a daughter, rebuilding a relationship on the truth instead of a lie. To anyone watching this, especially the parents, be careful which child you put on a pedestal. You might find that when you fall, the one on the pedestal is too high up to reach down and catch you. It's the ones on the ground, the ones you might have overlooked or underestimated, who will be there to pick up the pieces. Don't wait until a tragedy to realize who your real family is. The disappointment in your life might just be the person who saves it. Julian hasn't called me in 3 months, and honestly, I've never been happier. My house is full of music, Casey's art, and a kind of love that doesn't require a resume to be valid. The wine is spilled, the table is cleared, and for the first time in my 78 years, I know exactly where I belong. Thanks for sitting with me at dinner today. I'll see you in the next story.